We have a major injury update around Josh Giddey. We're going to be talking about when we should expect to see him back on the court and how this is going to impact the Chicago Bulls moving forward this season. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we're looking at the most recent injury update around Josh Giddey. Must say that it looks pretty good that we should expect to see Josh Giddey here very soon. We're also going to be talking about just what adjustments the Chicago Bulls are going to have to make with his return coming. And so before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, I first wanted to remind you that 72.8% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so you can find this article. It's on BullsSportsIllustrated.com. Within this article, it is going to show a Casey Johnson tweet. This came out just yesterday, and just talking about the update and just when we could expect to see Josh Giddey onto the court. And so here is what Casey Johnson tweeted out here. And he's saying, look, Josh Giddey is progressing well per Billy Donovan, likely to return for one of these games. So either the Phoenix Sun game or you have the Sacramento Kings game. That's in that back-to-back situation, but he won't play in both. So it's going to be one or the other. And so this is a good update because the Phoenix Suns game is coming up here tomorrow. I think right now, if you go and check his status out on ESPN.com, it has him listed as questionable. Questionable game time decision. I guess you will see what happens with Josh Giddey. And so initially, look, I think that this is great news because he's only missed 2 games thus far. So that's very good. He initially talked about it after it happened that he thought it was, he thought initially it was a lot worse, but woke up and it was a lot better. We had known that he did a little bit of on-court activities, which was a good sign, and he's traveled with the team. So that indicates that he was expecting to be back at some point. And so this is good. And I think that when it comes down to the chemistry standpoint, I don't think that he's going to impact the Chicago Bulls, in a negative way at all. I think that he's shown that he can play with any of these guards. I think that what you're really impressed with is that Josh Giddey and then Coby White, the way that they've been actually picking it up here as of late, I think that, you might see something even better once they get back because it looks like that they were really figuring things out, especially Coby White, just where he needs to be, how he can be effective with the basketball, and Josh Giddey, continuing to get the assist out and also be aggressive. I think that they were figuring out, just how to play off one another. And TreJones, look, he's not in the way out there. I think that TreJones fit very well with them. He's a guy that we've talked about countless times that he doesn't need to have the basketball in his hands to be super effective. He can get you with a number of things, especially off the ball. He's a guy that is willing to run out in the open floor. And look, he's usually going to be a guy that he's going to make the correct rotation on the offensive end. And so he's going to get himself some easy shots when Coby and Josh Giddey are kind of driving in. He knows how to play off of them. And so that is a player that I think he's going to be just fine. And then when you look at the front court, the front court is, I think that they've definitely been able to play well with Coby and Josh Giddey and really all these guards. But, Zach Collins, look, he looked very good when he's been on the floor with Josh Giddey. I think that Jalen Smith has as well. Like both of those bigs are players that like to get out and run the floor. And then they're also too hitting the boards. And so even if they're missing at the rim, I think that there's easy opportunities for putbacks there. And Vooch has already been playing with Josh Giddey, I think, at a pretty high level until, he got injured in the trade deadline and everything else. But still, he's shown that he can work with him and Modest as well. And so, from a chemistry standpoint, I think they're going to be just fine. And I think that they continue to keep it rolling because we talked about it yesterday. They won 5 of their last 6 games. So adding Josh Giddey back, I don't think that that's going to hurt them. Adding Lonzo back is not going to either. And I think the bigger question now is that, can Josh Giddey continue on this tear that he was on? Because when you look at what he did over his last 10 games leading into this, look, he was averaging 22 points a game, He had 9.3 assists a game, 9.7 rebounds a game, shooting 42.3 from three, and then 49.5 from the field, and 80.6 from the free throw line. I think that is probably the biggest number that you love to see, because that means that he's getting downhill, much like Kobe White, who's been getting downhill, and they've just been putting pressure on the defense. And we've been talking about how these guys have been getting and ones. And they've really been getting these and ones, and it's putting so much pressure on opposing defenses. And even if they miss, they're good misses where the bigs are able to come in and clean it up. And also, too, they're getting so deep in the defense, like it's just now we're starting to understand where to be at. So I think that we talked a little bit about this with just the identity of the team. Excuse me. I think that they're doing a great job as far as just understanding where to be in this offense, and everything's kind of flowing. And so that is going to be great to see when Josh Giddey gets back, is can he continue to play at that high level? And then, I think for Billy Donovan, I think it's going to become interesting, because I think he has to make some real adjustments here. And I think that when you're talking about these adjustments, I think, there's two players that definitely come to mind. And I think that really starts with Dalen Terry. Look, I think that Dalen Terry is a player that certainly you have to wonder about, like when Josh Giddey gets back, is he still going to get the minutes? Because look, over the last two games, here is a guy that has averaged double figures. I think in this last game, he had 12 points. He had an assist. He had 3 rebounds. He had 2 steals, -7 in the plus-minus box score, 4 of 5 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, but that was in 15 minutes. And so, look, you want him to continue to get some minutes. He got 13 minutes in the Houston game. He had 11 points there, 3 assists. He had a rebound, a steal. He got a block. He was +6 there, 4 of 5 from the field again, and he was 3 of 3 from downtown. And so just love the confidence that he's playing with. And, you don't run plays for him. And so I think that by putting him on the floor out there with, Josh Giddey and the rest of these players, like I think that there's a real chance that, he could maybe take off a little bit here. He's shown us some flashes, much like Julian Phillips, who we're going to talk about in a moment. But I'd hope that Billy Donovan continues to keep utilizing him because, look, with Jalen Smith, I think that he's kind of taken a little bit of a back seat, so to speak, since Vooch has come back. So I hope that this doesn't happen for Dalen Terry, and the same for Julian Phillips. Look, I think that Julian Phillips, he's done a fantastic job in really just using his athleticism. And I think, unlike Dalen Terry, I think that he's kind of carved out a little bit more of a shooter's role, like a 3-and-D role, because he can definitely knock down this corner 3-point shot. And so it's been great to see that from Julian Phillips, which I think that, because of this, I think the way that the offense is kind of working, you definitely can put him in there to maybe some more situations. But I think Dalen Terry can definitely get there. But hopefully, I know Billy Donovan is continuing to try to win as many games as possible, but this is where player development is super important, because these are two players that I think that, look, if you're not moving on from them, then I think that these are players that you need to continue to just build with here and see what you have, because, even if they're not going to be, starters for you, they could be players that could be definitely impactful. They could be 3-and-D type of players, and you don't want to, hurt the development here, because I think that, yes, you do want to continue to develop these winning habits as you're trying to win and go for this play-in situation, whatever, but you still want to develop these players. And I'm saying the ultimate goal here is not just to play for play-in basketball. At some point, this team has got to get to being just the team that could maybe get out of the Eastern Conference. And so we know that this team has a lot of work to do, and part of that is you need to evaluate and see what you have so you can figure out how you're going to continue to shape this roster. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking here about Josh Giddey coming back. Do you feel like, yes, he does add to the chemistry, and he is going to pick up really where he left off, because he was on a tear? And then do you think, yes, Billy Donovan has to make some adjustments? He's got to continue to keep Julian Phillips and then also to Dalen Terry in the rotation, no matter who comes back, whether it's Josh Giddey and Lonzo Ball. And then also to, 2, what are you thinking about Jalen Smith? Because I think that Jalen Smith definitely needs to be playing some more, especially the way Vooch has been playing here as of late. I know he's gotten some double-doubles, but last night's game, I mean, he was pretty bad until the third quarter there. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And as we always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.